In this video, we're going to cover everything that you need to know before moving to the St. Augustine area. This is going to have some good things and it's going to have some bad things that might potentially deter or change your decision to move here. What's up everyone? My name's Thomas with Real Broker here in St. Augustine, Florida. And if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest here in Northeastern Florida, make sure you reach out to me and my team. All we try to do is give you the information so that you can make an educated decision on what you already want to do, which is buy, sell, or invest real estate here in Northeastern Florida. Now, I'm going to cover 5 different topics that I think are the most important to anyone relocating to our area, especially this is all going to be fresh and new to you if you are relocating from a completely different area. Some things you may know, some things you may not know, but we're going to take a deep dive into each one of these topics.
I got you.
So just to give you a little bit of an overview, the first thing that we're going to talk about is going to be the housing prices here in the area. That's something that everyone wants to know, and it's very important if you are considering moving here. The second thing we're going to be talking about is taxes. Not only are we going to talk about property taxes, but we're going to talk about sales taxes and income taxes. The third thing we're going to talk about is the bane of a lot of people's existence here in Florida, which is going to be insurance and the flood zones and how those relate to each other and the costs surrounding them. The fourth thing we're going to talk about is going to be schools, and that's one of the things that St. Johns County is really proud of. So there's going to be some really good things about that, but I'm also going to show you and tell you about some of the pitfalls that we've seen these past couple of years. And the fifth thing that we're going to talk about is going to be the infrastructure here in St. Johns County and some of the projects that we have moving forward and some of the things that have caused some big problems within the infrastructure here in the area. So without further ado, let's talk about housing prices. Now, we are speaking in generalities, right? So we're talking about all over St. Johns County when we're talking about the median sale price here. So if you are looking in a specific area, I can break each area down for you. Just tell me which one you're interested in and reach out to me directly. But this is going to encompass both single family, townhome, and condos, all of the residential property within St. Johns County. One thing you might be surprised to know in today's world with high mortgage interest rates, a good bit of our transactions within St. Johns County are cash. 29% of all the transactions in St. Johns County are cash transactions. So a little bit more than a quarter of every transaction here is done with cash. This is actually down from this time last year just by 0.4%. In 2023, the cash transactions ranged about 29.4%. But if you compare this to 5 years ago, we are up. Cash transactions in 2019 were roughly 27.7% of the entire market. And to make a note on that, the reason I think that we're seeing a little bit more cash than we have in the past is because mortgage interest rates are around 7% right now. Now, one of the best data points that you can look at if you're buying a home within St. Johns County is going to be the days on market. What is the average time for a home to be on the market before it goes under contract? As of right now, our days on market are 39 days. So a little bit over a month is the average amount of time that homes are going to be selling within the year of 2024. If you compare that to this time last year, our average days on market was roughly 41 days. So it has come down slightly, but for the most part, it's about the same. And if you go 5 years back, you go back to 2019, our average days on market was 48 days on market. So even then was a seller's market. We're still technically in a seller's market based off of our days on market. This is a good way to really gauge the temperature on a market. Is it hot? Is it cold? By looking at the days on market, you can get a good idea of that. You know, at one point it used to take 3 months to sell a property, and now we're seeing them sell in less than a month and a half. So that shows that there is some great strength here within the Northeastern Florida real estate market. So in 2024, the median sale price within St. Johns County covering single family, townhome, and condos is going to be $539,990. This number is up from this time last year, 8%, which this time last year was around $500,000 to buy your median property here in St. Johns County. Now, if we hop in our time machine and we go back into 2019, we'll buy 20 houses then and they'll be worth a lot more today. But the median sale price in 2019 was $335,000. In the past 5 years, we've seen appreciation over 60% in St. Johns County. And I think one of the biggest indicators of strength is that our market is still appreciating. 8% year over year is a large amount of appreciation on a year over year basis. On average, homes typically appreciate 2.5% to 3% year over year. Seeing 8% is obviously, 2 to 3 times that amount. So that shows to me that our market, even though times are crazy with interest rates, inflation, the Fed, shows that living here in St. Augustine is still a great bet to buy a home and gain some more appreciation. And a lot of locals are definitely going to disagree with me on that. Everyone that lives here locally, they've seen where prices hit the rock bottom in 2010, and they've seen them slowly climb up to where we are today. They all think that housing is overpriced, but we live within an hour's drive of a growing metropolitan city. Jacksonville just got ranked the #2 job market in the United States. St. Augustine itself is the nation's oldest city. It's a really cool town, a lot of fun in downtown St. Augustine, a lot of great dining, entertainment. You have intercoastal, you have beaches. We live 20 minutes within pretty much everything you need here in St. Augustine, and it's a really cool beach town. I believe that we were undervalued for a very long time, and now we're just right where we need to be. One great thing about the state of Florida is that there is no state income tax.
Really?
Now, so if you're coming from a state with high income tax, this is actually going to be a pay increase for you moving here to Florida. Now, we do have higher sales tax than other states. The state of Florida has a 6% sales tax, and St. Johns County has a 50-cent sales tax, making your total sales taxes on all purchases at 6.5%. Now, what I want to do, guys, is I want to show you on my computer. We're going to take a look at how you can estimate your property taxes, and one of the major pitfalls that Zillow has in estimating the cost of owning a home here in the area. Now, we're going to use an extreme example, so don't fault me for this, but if you are looking to buy a $17 million home, reach out to me directly. I'd love to be able to help. Okay, so this is Zillow. It's a great platform. I use it all the time with my clients. It's honestly the easiest thing to use. You know, I know every realtor has their own portals and everything like that, but they're dog shit compared to what Zillow has. They have a really easy to use platform. But that's not to say that they don't have some pitfalls that you need to be aware of, especially if you're using it to estimate some of your costs. So this is going to be an extreme situation, but I'm going to use it because it'll make a great example, right? So we have a $18 million property here, 75 Ponte Vedra Boulevard. And the one thing that I've noticed with Zillow in this area, when you get down to the payment calculator, you can customize your payment, and it's actually a really great tool as long as you know that some of your numbers are correct. So we'll calculate this here, and you can see here that property taxes are $10,278 on a $18 million home. Now, to anyone, that would seem like that's pretty amazing, honestly, to have a $10,000 property tax bill on an $18 million home. But is that rooted in reality? No, it's actually 100% wrong. Your taxes will not be that cheap. If they were, then every billionaire would be buying these properties in droves. It's just not a fact. So this is what you're going to want to do. And this is something that if you're looking to buy in our area. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do in order to estimate property taxes so that you have a good idea of what your taxes are actually going to be, which if you're getting a mortgage or if you're paying cash is going to help you figure out what your monthly expenses are way better than what Zillow is going to show you. And this is going to be a closer estimate, a lot more accurate than what Zillow is providing right there. And we'll show you the difference in price, and it's going to be a big jump. Okay, so you hop on the property appraiser here and you put in the address of the property. No results. That's what we like to see. Okay, so 75 Ponte Vedra Boulevard. We pull that up on the property appraiser website, right? This is a great resource, free. Everyone can access it. I just know how to use it really well. So you can see they have a whole bunch of tabs here. You can look up the previous tax bill. But the biggest thing you want to do is go to the tax estimator. Now, what you're going to notice is that this is going to pre-populate information that's already in here. So you can see here the millage rate is 12.9399. So essentially, if you're doing math, you take that 18 million and then you multiply it times 1.29399. And that will be a more accurate representation of what your tax bill will be. But the great thing is St. Johns County has this tax estimator. So let's just say that, easy numbers, I'm not going to go crazy here. This is 18 million. And let's say you make it your primary residence, which means you get to homestead it here in northeastern Florida. Homesteading gives you a tax deduction of $50,000. It also keeps you at a 3% cap year over year on your property tax being raised. So when you compute this out, that is what your property taxes would be. $232,000. That is, I mean, if you're estimating your cost, right, and you're looking at Zillow, they gave you a number of $10,000. That's clearly not right. So I think that right there is really important to note, because Not only is that happening on $18 million properties, you can go in there and a $500,000 payment, and your taxes are going to be a large part of that. So on average here in St. Johns County, your property taxes are going to be around 1.4%. So whatever you're buying, $500,000 home times 1.4% is going to be about your property taxes. Now, every area is a little bit different. There's a whole bunch of different tax districts within St. Johns County, which is why you want to reference the property appraiser, because it'll pull that tax district and give you a more accurate representation of what those taxes could be. So let's just say we're going to take that same exact tax district, which is 1.29399, and then we're going to multiply it times $500,000. We're going to add that homestead exemption there. Your taxes are roughly going to be $5,958.21. So we use the same exact area. You're not going to find a $500,000 property in that area, but this is what your taxes would come out to. Now, I think this is a great midway point to mention that I do have a downloadable file for you. It's completely free. All you got to do is give me your information, and I won't promise. I'm not going to call you, bombard you with emails, all that kind of stuff. You'll get a weekly email. That's about it. When you're ready, you can reach out to me directly, and we can help you make your move or sell your house, buy a house, invest, whatever you want to do. But it's the top 10 websites in St. Johns County that I think you need to know about. This information will be on there. So all you got to do is press the link here, which I'll put somewhere over here, and put your information in, and we'll email that over to you for you to have. All right, now the third thing that we want to talk about is going to be the insurance issues that we've seen here in the state of Florida. Now, we are in the northeastern part of Florida. We really haven't had as big of problems. We've still had problems, but not as big of problems of what we've seen in South Florida, with people and their premiums rising, 50%, 1,000% in some cases. Here in northeastern Florida, we still have insurance premiums going up, but over the past year or so, they've kind of flatlined, which is a good scenario for any homeowner here or any potential homeowner to know that you're not going to get a different bill every single year. One of the major issues with insurance here is going to be based around the condo market. Now, of course, we all saw that in South Florida, that condo collapse a couple of years ago, which has really spurred a lot of changes within condo associations. One of the biggest ones is that their insurance cost has gone through the roof. I actually saw one condo building change their insurance cost, their HOA, which pays for their master policy of insurance, went from $650 to $1,000 per month. And this is without pretty much any other amenities that are allowable to this unit. Aside from that, Florida was also one of the top states, and it accrued for most of the insurance claims within the nation for the past several years, because at one point you could easily get a brand new roof on your home just for the deductible in your insurance policy. What had happened is a roofer come knock on your door, you say, hey, if I can find some storm damage on your roof, we can say it's hurricane damage, we can get you a brand new roof for your deductible. Maybe your deductible is $1,000. The whole roof might cost $10,000 or $15,000. The insurance company is then at a crossroads, right? They could fight the policyholder and say like, hey, we're not gonna pay for this roof. We can go to litigation and figure this out. Or they can just pay for the roof and move on. Well, the cost ends up being about the same. Perfect. So for hassle's sake, they decided to just pay for roofs. And we've had a big problem with insurance here, and that's why we're seeing more and more insurance premiums go up. Aside from that, we also live in the state of Florida. We have hurricanes, we have flooding. It is part of living here, right? It's not a matter of like, oh, it's never going to happen. It's a matter of when will it happen, how are you prepared for it? So of course, along with that, you are going to see, especially if you are in one of the flood zones that you're required to have flood insurance in, you're going to see a premium increase in those areas. But let's talk about some of the good stuff, and I'm going to hop into flood zones and what you need to know about it. So most of our inventory here in St. Johns County is going to be new construction homes. I'd venture to say that probably 80% of the stuff available has been built within the last like 5 to 10 years. And that's not like an exaggeration. You can go ahead and check it yourself. And the best deals right now are within the new construction communities because they have the profit margin to give away the farm in a sense, right? So they're paying your closing costs, they're buying down your interest rate, they're giving you some flex cash for maybe design upgrades. They're doing a lot to incentivize buyers to go under contract with them. The good thing with that as well is that they're also built to all the brand new codes, everything that insurance companies like to see. So on most new construction homes, I just had one done over here in Entrada, the payment came out to $140 a month for I think a 2,200 square foot home. Now, if you got a bigger home than that, maybe it's going to be $200, but on a new construction home, you should expect to pay somewhere between like $125 a month and $200 a month for your insurance policy. So the entire state of Florida is actually in a flood zone, right? The majority of it is going to be in flood zone X, which that's totally okay. If you're in flood zone X, you're pretty much like you're in a 100-year floodplain. That's like Noah's Ark type of situation, right? It's like, yeah, 100 years it'll happen, something like that. It's almost like a little joke in a way. So flood zone X, you're not required to have flood insurance, right? I live in a home here in West Augustine. I live in flood zone X. I don't have to have flood insurance. If I want to buy it as an option just in case for this 100-year flood, it's going to cost me about $450 for the year, which honestly, that's not bad for peace of mind. Now, on the verse side, if you are in flood zone AE, which is the step up above flood zone X, you are then required to have flood insurance if you have a mortgage on your property. If you buy the home cash, you don't have to pay flood insurance. You don't, if it floats away, it floats away, right? You don't have to pay for it. You can as an option. But if you are financing, you are going to have to pay for flood insurance if you are in one of the flood zones that require you to have flood insurance, such as flood zone AE. So if you are on the water, or if you're within spitting distance of the water, you're more than likely in flood zone AE. So what I want to do is show you the FEMA website and what I typically do to look up these properties so that you know what's in a flood zone and what's not in a flood zone. So we're going to use our example property because it gives us a lot of ammunition, a lot of good information for you, even though it's $18 million. It's still a great case study. So let's take a look. So we're taking a look here at the FEMA flood map. So if you just go to FEMA.gov, they have a map application where you can literally just search the exact address. So if you are interested in a property, you can just search the address and pull this exact map. Sometimes it's a little funky and the colors won't come in. You may have to refresh it a couple times. It's a pain. But for the most part, this is what you want to look at when you're evaluating, right? So you can see you have flood zone AE here, flood zone VE, and it even gives you a little color chart here into areas that like you should be concerned with, that you shouldn't be concerned with. So if you don't see any color, you're in flood zone X, right? And that's a good thing. You're not going to have to pay for flood insurance. Now, the reason I said this is a great case study, and this is only if you're really familiar with this area, is on the right side of A1A here. This is A1A over here. There's some areas over here that are probably 20 feet above the road. I mean, it literally sits up on what we'd call a mountain here in Florida. And this is no different. So this is built up extremely high. So the elevation plays a big role into what is in a flood zone and what isn't in a flood zone. So you can even see here, there is a little alcove here where homes were built down here that are not in a flood zone, but homes over here are in a flood zone. And that's just based off of the elevation and the floodplain. There's a variety of things that your insurance carrier is going to take into consideration when evaluating your insurance cost and if you are going to have to pay for flood insurance. The main thing is going to be what your flood zone is. The second thing is going to be how high is the elevation of your home, right? We've had some homes that are in floodplains, but the elevation, it's been built up so high that it's effectively raised out of the flood zone and they're not having to pay flood insurance. So there's a variety of factors. Those are the two main things, but also the age of the home is going to matter and what the cost is going to be for your insurance policy. All right, and the fourth thing that you need to know, and this is especially important if you're moving with kids or thoughts of having kids, is going to be our schools here in St. Johns County. Now, this is something that St. Johns County is very proud of. We are the #2 school district in the entire state of Florida. I think that's out of like 36 school districts, if I remember correctly, but being #2 is a great position to hold. We were #1 several years ago, but things have changed. We're still in competition for that. They do a rating within the state of Florida, and it's rated between, or graded, let's say, not rated, graded between A and F, A being the best school, F being the worst school. Not only does Zillow get the property taxes wrong, but they also rank schools differently. They use a third-party system called Great Schools, and I'm not saying that this is wrong, but it's not exactly accurate, right? So Great Schools says that everything here is a 9 out of 10, so you could assume that all of them are A schools. Knowing all of these schools, they are all rated A schools, but that's not how the state of Florida grades schools. The Florida Department of Education uses a grading system, A through F. They don't use a numerical system. So this is something that you're going to want to verify. And the way you're going to verify this, you're going to go to the St. Johns County Attendance Zone locator. We're going to use it for the 2024-2025 year. So you pop the address in, and then it's going to populate what your attendance zone is. Now this changes all the time, so this may not be accurate by the time that you watch this, but it's going to give you each of these schools. Then what you want to do, so you're going to want to go to the Department of Education, you're going to want to go to school grades, and then you're going to want to click on informational baseline school grades. In this Excel spreadsheet, it's outlined by county name or school district name, right? So then you'd scroll down all the way to St. Johns County. And once you get to St. Johns County, it gives you all of the schools here listed out. And then on the far right side here, you can see that it'll give you a letter grade for that year and the previous years available. So that was a quick overview of how you can look these things up. Of course, I have that top 10 websites. That information is in there. But if you need any additional help, just reach out to me directly. I'm more than happy to help you out with this. If you are looking for a specific school or a home and what schools that goes to, I can figure all that out for you. It's not that hard for me to do. And just to talk about this a little bit more, the state of Florida actually got ranked #1 for education across all the states in the United States. And that is a combination of both the public education system, K through 12, and also our secondary education system here in Florida. They meshed it all together, and we are somehow #1 across all the states.
My time has come.
Now, to add a little asterisk to that #1 ranking, we have a lot of great secondary schools here in the state of Florida. You know, you guys all know them by name, but we have a ton of them here. So not only do we have a great K through 12 education, but our secondary education is also really good as well. So that's also carrying a lot of the water for a lot of the school districts that maybe aren't as great. Now, with our population growing here in St. Johns County, we just went over 300,000 people living here in the county, which is a huge jump from what it was several years ago. We've had some issues. One of the main issues is that our student-teacher ratio has grown. You know, I think it was 22-1 at one point, and now it's 24-1. So it's grown by a couple of people. They've also been reporting of overcrowding in a lot of the schools, especially in the northern part of the county where we've seen a lot of the development. And also teachers and teachers' pay has not really been adjusted that well, right? So we're having trouble getting teachers into our area because of the cost of living, because of housing prices, inflation, all that good stuff. And we're the #2 school district in the state. And we're also having trouble paying teachers what they need to be paid because of that cost of living increase, right? A lot of them feel that they can't afford to live in the county anymore. So they move to a neighboring county where they actually get paid more, even though they're not the #2 school district in the state of Florida. They get paid more in neighboring counties, and every neighboring county to us, Duval, Putnam, and Flagler, are also a lot cheaper to live than St. Johns County. Over the next 2 years, we actually have 6 new schools coming within St. Johns County.
What?
So they're opening 2 at the end or at the beginning of the 2024-2025 school year in August. They're opening 2 more the following year, and I think 2 more in the same exact year as well. And then they have a high school planned for, I think the earliest they said was 2028, 2027 possibly. But we all know how those things work. Sometimes they get kicked down the road. And the 5th point that I'm going to talk about is the infrastructure here in St. Johns County. As I mentioned before, our county is booming. There's a ton of people moving to our area, and I can't blame them. It's a super great place to live. It's very cool. A lot of things to do, a lot of outdoor activities. It's just a sweet place to live and grow up and just be a part of, to be honest. But that's not without some downsides and some growing pains, which we've definitely had these past couple of years. So I already mentioned the schools kind of overcrowding, teacher pay, all those issues. But along with the population growth, we haven't really kept up with the infrastructure that we need to sustain the population growth. As of right now, there is $588 million worth of projects, infrastructure projects going on here in St. Johns County. And they're past projects, they're future projects. There's a lot of work that's happening within the infrastructure for St. Johns County, but it doesn't make it any easier to live with or live around for that matter. Because when you have more congestion on the roads, you have construction on the roads, that leads to more congestion and more traffic. So it just makes it worse as we're trying to fix the problem, but it's a double-edged sword. So what I'm gonna do is outline some of the plans that we have here. And of course, all the links will be provided below for you guys to check out. But we're gonna take a look at the $588 million of infrastructure that's already been working on and coming to St. Johns County here. Okay, so there's $298 million for recent and current roadway investments. This features the pavement management program, Old Moultrie Road improvements, and Holmes Boulevard and King Street intersection improvements. The 2024 roadway projects underway are County Road 2209, County Road 210 West, Greenbrier to Cimarron, County Road 210 East, Longleaf Parkway, Michler Road, and State Road A1A, Preservation Trail Signal, Pine Island and US 1 Signal, Racetrack Road widening, State 16 and International Golfway improvements, Stratton Boulevard Signal, Woodlawn Road, and Kings Estate Road. Now, all of the congestion and the traffic and the issues that are really big pain points for the residents in St. Johns County, that addresses probably 95% of them. So all the pain points that I just addressed, all the problems that a lot of the residents here have, are being addressed in those exact intersections, like State Road 16 International Golf Parkway, a mess, right? State Road 16 and 95, a mess. County Road 210 East, County Road 210 West, they're widening it. All the developments up there, a mess. Longleaf Parkway, Pine Island and US 1, that's one of the entrances to Nocatee, which is a huge master plan community here. As of right now, it just comes out to US 1, and if you got to turn left onto US 1, you got to like pray and just gas it as you get out of there. A mess. So all of these infrastructure projects are the pain points that we have here in St. Johns County with our growth. $49 million for recent and current drainage investments. This includes the comprehensive drainage infrastructure program and efforts to address aging systems on Winton Circle and Kings Road. Projects for 2024 include Santa Rosa Drainage, Holmes Boulevard Drainage, Countywide Underdrain, North Rodriguez Drainage, Porpoise Point, San Julian Drainage, and Surfwood Drainage. So we live in an area where, St. Augustine, it's kind of lost for the cause. Not really much you can do in downtown St. Augustine in terms of stormwater management and drainage, but the rest of the county is pretty much, a lot of it's pretty rural. Now with the more development going into the northern part of St. Johns County, they're addressing some of the drainage issues. It's crazy to me that it costs $49 million to do that, but what do I know? The next thing is $68 million for recent and current facilities investment. This includes a new water utility lab, a fire station, and SJSO substation number 11, Flagler Estates Community Center. Projects for 2024 include Emergency Operations Centers Annex, a fire station number 21, number 22, a Hastings Community Center and Library, Public Service Center, Tactical Training Facility, Sheriff Fleet and Supply Building, and the Tillman Ridge Tipping Floor for Solid Waste. So like I said, we've had some problems with infrastructure, and that's including like our public services as well. So like the problems with fire stations, the sheriff's office, and having access to community centers. They just put $30 million into Hastings, which is more of a rural area in the southern part of St. Johns County. I think that's another area that's probably going to start popping off here in a little bit. But we need fire stations. We need police stations. This is all good stuff.
What?
$173 million for recent, current coastal investments. So this includes Ponte Vedra Beach restoration, FEMA berm projects, and St. Augustine USACE project. The North Ponte Vedra project is underway with more than 3 miles completed. They're doing the Ponte Vedra Beach renourishment, South Ponte Vedra and Villano Beach, coastal storm risk management flood control, and coastal emergencies project, doing the same in St. Augustine, Summer Haven, Rock revetment, and Old A1A North, Porpoise Point Drive armoring, and the Summer Haven Intercoastal Waterway dredge disposal project. So all of these things definitely need to be done. They're very important, especially when it comes down to dredging, renourishing our beaches. That's a large tourist attraction here for St. Johns County, so we got to have great beaches. Dredging the intercoastal waterways so that you can get your boat through, and you're not going to hit any bottoms. You at least have an alleyway or road in the intercoastal. Doing a lot of that infrastructure work is important for the surrounding homes there, so that they don't lose their homes. This is a fight between the owners and the county and who should pay for this kind of stuff, but it seems that the county just flips the bill every time. Guys, and that is it. Those are the top 5 things that I think you need to know about if you're considering moving here to St. Augustine, Florida. And you should know about this stuff before you move to our area anyway. I do have the top 10 websites that you need to know, so I'll put that link above. You can download that. Just give me your information. That's all it is. I'm not going to beat you over the head with calls and emails and stuff. I don't do that. I'm ready. I'm here for you whenever you're ready to buy, sell, or invest, right? That's kind of how I play everything. All we try to do is give you the information so that you can make an educated decision. If you got some value out of this video, please do me a solid and like the video, comment if you have any additional questions, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber on the channel already. Until next time, guys, have a good one.